Hello everyone, this is John Smith and welcome to the Psalming Effect for this week. Today is Monday, November the 28th, 2022. And before I read the psalm, I just want you to take notice of my setting. Maybe you can tell I'm in my basement. And my basement isn't quite put together as it usually is. You can probably see I have my office set up in the far corner. I have some bookshelves there and I have some other things, and there's our downstairs fridge off to the other side of me, and but I have to tell you that this part of the basement looks much better than and I thought would be a better setting for doing this than almost anywhere else in the house, maybe except in some of the bedrooms. Here's what's happening. At the beginning of, in the middle of summer, we had a severe rainstorm in southeast Saskatchewan. A lot of houses in Weyburn got flooded, and our house had water come into the basement. And it totally soaked through. This basement floor used to be completely covered with carpet. About 570 square feet of my basement floor was covered with carpet. Now, I didn't put the carpet in. The carpet was in the house when I bought the house, and it's one of the first things I said, and this is like 9 and a half years ago. I said, one of the first things I'm going to do to this house is the carpet in the basement's got to go. And 9 and a half years later, and we didn't get it done until this year. And of course, what happened is that our basement got flooded, not severely, no damage to the walls, and we managed to get all our stuff out of the basement and out into the garage. And then I got my shop vac that pumps water through a hose outside, got that going. We then cut up pieces of carpet and carried it out. And got it all out of the soaking wet pieces of carpet, heavy stuff. But we got it all out of the house, basically moved all the furniture and all of our stuff out of the way, and we were okay, except now we had to redo the basement floor before we brought everything back in, because we were down to bare concrete. And it wasn't very good concrete. This house dates back to 1971, and the concrete on the basement floor, is showing its wear, and it didn't help that it got flooded with water and seepage coming in everywhere. So we pumped it out. We had fans going for about a week, commercial fans. A fellow in the city lent me a couple of those, and we got it dried out. And so what I did then was I patched places in the floor with cement compound, and got those smoothed out as best as I could, not perfect. And then we put vinyl planking down so that we could use the basement again, and we needed it. We had company coming in July, family, and we needed the space in the basement to bring the beds back down and put mattresses on the floor and it actually worked as a great space. Anyways, I took lots of pictures and got all that done. And so that was good. The only thing was, we weren't anticipating doing that. And in moving everything out to the garage, we decided we can't bring all of that stuff back in the house. So we haven't yet, and we're not going to bring it all back in, at least not set it up the way it was. We're going to pack some boxes and have a garage sale, which we would have liked to have done in August or September. But we just had too many other things happening, weddings, funerals, you name it. We had lots that happened that kept interrupting this project. And the other thing was, the city of Weyburn declared a disaster for that week of flooding, and we could apply to the city and get some funding. The province declared it a disaster, and we would qualify for disaster relief. So we went down to City Hall and got the forms and started filling them out. And there was a part of it that said, well, you need to, first of all, check your insurance, house insurance to make sure, you know, that it might have some coverage for seepage. So I took my paperwork and went to my insurance agent and, okay, am I covered for this? And he said, well, actually you are. You have coverage for overland flooding and water seepage. And it was like, so what do I do? And he said, well, did you take pictures? And I said, yes, I did. So anyways, to shorten the story, I wrote up a claim. I have all the receipts from the materials I bought, the flooring, the patching, all the, you know, the work that I did, and sent all of that in. And just this last week, we got reimbursed for the cost of it. So there you go. It's neat how it happened, sort of. It isn't the way we would have preferred to do it, but it's better this way in the sense that we were able to get the carpet out of our house and get good vinyl plank flooring down, and our insurance covered it. The problem is the timing was bad, and now we're in disarray trying to get everything organized to move back into the basement. And here's the problem: is we're bringing boxes into the house upstairs, one or two at a time, and unpacking them and then sorting. Okay, these are the things we're keeping. These are the books I'm going to keep. This is some stuff that's going to go to my office at the church building. Here's some, you know, things that should go somewhere else, and these are the things that we will find a place in the basement to store. And these things will go in my office area. And anyway, so I have piles of stuff. Board games in one pile, jigsaw puzzles in another pile, Christmas decorations in another pile, all upstairs spread out in our living room, our dining room, our kitchen, our front room, all over the house, until, you know, we get boxes ready, and then boxes that we're filling with stuff we're not keeping that's going to go in a garage sale, which won't happen till spring, obviously. So our house is in disarray. It's not an ideal situation. It makes it difficult to host people here right now, which we like to do. But on the other hand, we got to get this done, even if it just means having stacks of boxes once we get it all sorted in the basement somewhere. We got to get it done. Winter has set in, and I would like to be able to park my car in the garage, but there is no space in the garage right now. Anyways, well, enough about my troubles, except I wanted to tell you all of that because I was reminded when I read today's psalm of how things work with God and His plans. Okay, and so I'm just going to read the psalm. It's about, really, it's a psalm about David and his experience. He determined when he became king that he was going to build a temple, a dwelling place, a resting place for God. They had the tabernacle and the Ark of the Covenant, and which moved around. That moved around during David's time because of war and that. They relocated it a few times, and he decided, no, what we need is a temple in our beautiful city of Jerusalem, a resting place for God. That was David's plan. And so anyways, I just want to read this psalm to you. It's Psalm 132. Remember, O Lord, in David's favor, all the hardships he endured, how he swore to the Lord and vowed to the Mighty One of Jacob, I will not enter my house or get into my bed. I will not give sleep to my eyes or slumber to my eyelids until I find a place for the Lord, a dwelling place for the Mighty One of Jacob. Behold, we heard of it in Ephrathah. We found it in the fields of Jair. Let us go to his dwelling place. Let us worship at his footstool. Arise, O Lord, and go to your resting place, you and the ark of your might. Let your priests be clothed with righteousness, and let your saints shout for joy. For the sake of your servant David, do not turn away the face of your anointed one. The Lord swore to David a sure oath, from which he will not turn back. One of the sons of your body I will set on your throne. If your sons keep my covenant and my testimonies that I shall teach them, their sons also forever shall sit on your throne. For the Lord has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his dwelling place. This is my resting place forever. Here I will dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provisions. I will satisfy her poor with bread. Her priests I will clothe with salvation, and her saints will shout for joy. Then I will make a horn to sprout for David. I have prepared a lamp for my anointed. His enemies I will clothe with shame, but on him his crown will shine. So this is a psalm about how God really fulfilled David's desire. David's desire was to build a temple, a permanent place for God to dwell in the midst of his people Israel. And God fulfilled David's desire, but not in the way that David was thinking. Okay, David first of all had to conquer the city of Jerusalem. And David had to conquer actually and fight a lot of wars and win a lot of battles to fully take control of the land. And when that was finally all done, and David prayed to the Lord, okay, now I'm ready, to start on this project that to your honor, O God, to build this dwelling place for you. God said to him, well, no, it's not you that's going to build my temple, because you have too much blood on your hands. You've shed too much blood. You have too much blood on your hands. But here's what's going to happen, David. I will set your son on the throne in place of you after your life is done, and your son Solomon will build the temple. And I think you probably are well aware that that's how it happened then. But David, then, he embraced God's plan once God revealed it to him, and he prepared for his son Solomon to build the temple. He went out and procured materials and some riches to pay for the temple that Solomon would build. And so that's a really good illustration of how God often works in our lives. And it's really a reflection of what God is doing in my life. And I'm trying not to be frustrated that, I've had this desire to make my house as useful as possible, to house people and to have guests and to bless people with the things that God has given us here. People who come to visit for Harvest Fellowship and for other events. And part of that is getting the basement to where it needs to be. And but my basement has been in disarray, and now really the rest of my house, since the middle of summer. And today, and the reason why this is posting a little bit late today, is today I've had to spend most of the day outside shoveling snow. I helped someone who called to get a boost for their vehicle, and those things keep happening. But the Lord is working, and I can see that the Lord is helping me to fulfill the desire that I think He placed in my heart, and that is to use my house as a place of blessing, as a place of hospitality, as a place that can welcome other people. Harvest Fellowship here in Weyburn was back in the fall, obviously. Harvest Fellowship. It was the weekend after Canadian Thanksgiving, and major event at the church. And we were able to house one of the speakers and his family and give them full reign of our basement. And we were able to do that, and it worked really well because we were able to get this floor replaced and usable, and it was really a good space. But all of my stuff is still in the garage. and they had to see the mess that my garage is in, and I had to kind of explain, well, yeah, this is what's happening. God is answering my prayers, and God is carrying out His will, but not in the way that I necessarily anticipated, in the way that I had envisioned it. But it's almost better this way. I mean, the fact that it happened this way because of the flooding of the basement actually has saved me a lot of money, to tell you the truth, and has pushed me to do what I needed to do anyways, which was to purge and get rid of a bunch of stuff that I was stockpiling in my basement. So, yeah, God knows what He's doing, and I'm thankful to Him. And you'll find that in your life, and remember that in the things that you participate in, and the desires that you have to serve the Lord. And I mean, if you're one of those people that catches a vision for doing something, some area of service, some way of blessing people in your community, some way of filling a role in your church, just something that you feel called to do, that you have a strong desire to do, to honor God and to participate in His mission in this world and to bless others, that's good. Keep praying about that, but be prepared for this. Keep your eyes focused and your mind open to what God might have planned for how to answer your prayer and to fulfill the desire of your heart. Because what I'm experiencing, what David experienced, what most servants of God have learned, is that God's way is always the best way. And oftentimes it doesn't make sense to us, and we just have to kind of set aside our agenda, or at least revamp our vision and get with God's vision. Keep working with passion, and it'll be fulfilling. It'll be better than anything we ask or imagine of Him. It'll be better. And so that's the lesson. So anyways, if you need some more encouragement on that, go back to Psalm 132 and reflect on that and pray about it and think about those things. And remember, God's grace is for you in 2022.